Okay, everybody, this is David D. Hilster, and today we're going to be doing using NLP++, and I'm going to show you NLP++, why you should, every programmer should know it. I think that's an interesting aspect. Ever since I've, of course, known it, I use it all the time. In every job since this has been around, I've used it. And why would why would you want to use it, and why should it really be in the back pocket of every programmer? And of course, I'll be showing you the three analyzers. Let me show you here that if hopefully you went to fix.nluglobe.org, there are three analyzers there. It's going to be part of our 2025 push to get NLP++ out there in general. Not so much that it's going to solve your NLP problems. You can build what NLP++ is made for is to build your NLP system to whatever task you're doing, because generic NLP systems can't really function at all with really specific tasks in NLP and in NLP in general. So hopefully you got to look at it. If not, I'm going to be looking at those analyzers. So today we're going to be why every programmer should know NLP++. Going to give a tour of VisualText itself, a demo of the NLP fix analyzers, and then learning and using how do you learn and use NLP++ for yourself. So the first thing is why every programmer should know NLP++. I know most people aren't going to heed this at all. I think it's unfortunate because, for instance, regex is almost impossible to write and maintain. I mean, how many websites have we all gone to write regex, and we played for hours and hours and hours at end trying to get it to parse the things that we are wanting to parse? Well, NLP++ is 100 times more readable, without a doubt. And I'm going to show you the demo today when I show you live how true that is. I didn't write a regex for it, but I'm sure anybody who will see what the dates and times, that regex could be very, very difficult to read, and that would be even something easier to do because dates and times are a little bit simpler. But NLP++ also is like 100 times more powerful. It's a rule-based system. I should have put there, because a rule-based system, regex, and so NLP++ is regex for NLP. Should have put that on the slide, dummy. I'll say it again. NLP++ is regex for NLP. So some of the impossible problems, this is things that every programmer comes across. Every programmer has come across impossible programming tasks when dealing with text files. Formatted text to ASCII, I'm going to show you that one today. Marking up files that require more complex rules. My example for that was, of course, 1,300 files for book documents for HPC systems, the supercomputing group I worked with in my last job, and they had to go through and mark up all the places not to translate. Couldn't do it. It was about a 700-hour man job to go through those by hand, and I wrote an NLP++ parser after talking to the guy of what those rules were. And again, they're not rules that you write out in rules necessarily, but what are the things that you have to do. And I wrote an NLP++ parser in less than 2 days, and it went through all the text and actually found problems in the text as well. Wiktionary page is a good example that we have used and worked with. We have worked and used in internships. So knowing NLP++ will give you an advantage over other programmers. I could raise my hand in a meeting of the supercomputing group and say I can solve that 700-hour problem in a couple of days, and it certainly did that. So let's go to a live demo of NLP++. So I'm going to stop presenting here, and hopefully we won't lag too much here. Let me go to a new window here, and all right, and we're going to go to sharing this window. All righty. You should see now the NLP++, I mean the Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code, of course, is a editor that many people use. And so for you to downloading the NLP++ language extension, you can just come over here to the language extension, the extensions tab, just type in NLP, and you're going to see here NLP++. And then of course you can install it. I do want to mention, this is kind of funny. We're almost up to 5,000 downloads. We haven't done very much advertising at all, any marketing or getting really out there trying to get it out. These are just generic people finding it. There is one called NLP Visualizations, and I think people think this is part of the NLP++ package. It's not. And the reason I know this is if you look back, the last time this was even looked at, last release was 2017, and it had, max maybe 1,000 downloads when I started with the NLP++ language extension. And I think what people do is when they see this, they install this and install this, because this is really and it's paralleled, so it's really funny. I've seen the downloads where this was just 1,000 or so. You can see it kind of mirrors that. So again, this NLP Visualizations is a completely different idea, doesn't work at all with NLP++. So just all you need is the NLP++. Once you do that, you can see, of course, over here, the NLP++. You come to up here, you can open up the horizontal tab, and you're going to see something called VisualText. And then when you do that, you're going to see some stuff downloading and updating over here in the log window. It's already complete here. But what you're going to see, if it's your first time, it's going to be downloading a lot of stuff. And the reason is every time you log in and invoke the NLP++ extension, it will check for updates. The updates, what it has is the engine version. It has the visual text version, which is this itself, of course, is by itself. Has the analyzers version, which is over here, the analyzers that come with NLP++, and it has the visual text files, which are KB files, rule files, those things that you can use. So when we're adding new dictionaries and those kinds of things, that's what this is. So these things will automatically update when you get into, every time you invoke the NLP++ and open it up, language extension. Excuse me. So once you do that, what you can do to see all of the demos, that the analyzers that come with VisualText, you can come over here to the analyzers and click on this little cog. It says load example analyzers, and that's what I'll do. And you're going to see it load up, and now you're going to see all the analyzers there. You can click on NLP++ here. And what you have here in the beginning, all we had was a corporate analyzer, which is an old analyzer. It's interesting, but I need to update that, and I haven't done that yet. There's one about files. How do you deal with multiple files and open up and do those kinds of things? This is kind of a nice one. So if you want to learn how to run, while you're developing, how to run NLP++ over a bunch of files, I use that for corpus study. You have the NLP tutorials here, and the tutorials, every one of these analyzers have a YouTube with it, and I go and explain it so you can follow along there. And then you have a full English parser, and that was developed by Amnon Myers over the last 20 years. You can see it's quite large. Actually, it isn't that large. We have our analyzers that large. So this will tackle anything. You throw anything at it, any text at it, it's going to come back and do a tree for it. I think I've already run this one. Let's see what this does. So what happens is you have this very famous sentence, and let me close this down. And you're going to see here, you have a sentence, a clause of a noun phrase, the verb, and an adverbial. So it's broken down. So this is like diagramming sentences if you're not into linguistics, but this is a full blast English parser. Here's the English dictionary, and I think there's 100 and some thousand words. Yeah. Sorry. There we go. So yeah, there's 191,000 words. So this is from, I think, what's it, WordNet. So these are kind of an older dictionary. We're working on newer dictionaries. So you can see that. So that's what that English, you're free to use it, copy it over. You can always copy any of these. Like if I wanted to use this copy analyzer to another file, you're not going to see it. If I click on this, it opens up. I only have the display. I'm only sharing this window so you wouldn't see it, but you can copy it over. So if you come here, you're going to see the NLP fix analyzers, which are the datetime, the formatting, and then an example of NLP. And it gives us what I consider to be 3 levels of how NLP++ is used. In fact, if you look at if any of these analyzers, you can click on this little book. It's got a README file. Of course, all of these are in regex. I mean, regex. All of these things are in GitHub. So you can see here. And this all stems from the NLP fix analyzer. So if I want to just get to these analyzers, I can go and I can right click on this and say, edit this folder with VisualText. So I don't want all these other ones around. I want to just look at that one. It will reload everything, and you're going to see now just those analyzers. Now, there's something very important you should do, and that is come over here, and you should click on these 3 dots, and copy all the analyzers to another folder. The reason is as you see over here, it's going to check every time. You can invoke that here, check for updates. What I do is I go out and check to see if any of these things need updating. And one of them are the analyzers. The analyzer version is 1.9.3, which is when I added these NLP fix analyzers. So if I add another tutorial, all of these things will be blown away. So if I'm going here in the datetime and I'm wanting to go through and play with this and change it, edit it, and I want to keep those things around, that will be blown away. Anything that you change here. For instance, if I was going back to the full parser and I'm playing with that and I'm adding stuff to it or whatever parser, it turns out that it will be overwritten eventually. Because some other new version of analyzer will come on. So what this, in fact, if you look at, I don't know if this one, oh, you won't be able to see it, but I think, does it have the path in it? Yeah, there you go. If you look at it, you put your mouse over it, it says users, the David D. Hilster.VS Code extensions, the Hilster.blah NLP, which is the extension itself, under the NLP engine, underneath analyzers, underneath so you can see that's a long path, but it's located within the Visual Code NLP++ extension itself. So that's why you want to copy these over to another folder somewhere, and so that you can play with them and change them if you want. You don't have to, obviously, but you can. Okay, so that's very important. So let's. I want to take a look here at the NLP fix. So if you go to NLP Globe, let's say 3000 is the, okay, I'm going to now share something else with you. And I want to show you the, here we go. I want to show you the, if you go to fix.nluglobe.org, you can, yeah. So this is the, I'll type it in the chat here. It goes, go to fix.nluglobe.org. It will get you to this. Actually, it's a TypeScript server running the Express server, and then you'll get this page. And the idea of this page, if you actually put this on your phone, it's readable. You can actually click around and look at this. So if I have a video there you can watch, which describes each of these, and then you can choose. I'm sorry, I have a video here you can watch, and you can describe each of these analyzers. So you can click on one like this, and it'll tell you what it is. It's datetime is meant to take a problem that's typically would be written in regex and show how NLP++ is more readable. And then it tells you here that you can select these things. So we're right here. We've selected this analyzer, and now we can go and look at things like, you know, here's what each of the, if you click on this sequence here, it will highlight what it's what it's matching. You see how I do that? If I just click on it once, you'll see the highlights. This is one of the powerful things about NLP++. As you are building up the tree system for these island-driven small parts one at a time, you can see, sorry. Okay, sorry about that. If you click on this, you can see, oh, there's the Zulu times. You can, if you want to see the rules that are associated, and you click on it again. Oops, there's the tree. I'm sorry, it takes a little time on this because my computer's slow because we're broadcasting. But there's the one display. So if you click on it once, you'll see how it matches in text. Click on it the second time, you'll see the rules. Again, I apologize, it's going slow because of the system. On your phone, it's instantaneous, so you can do this. So if you just keep clicking, you'll see the rule files, the matching the text, and the tree. So you just see that, oh, something that I've already put together in the times area, time with a Z, gets to be put as, you group them up as Zulu, and then I put the Zulu time. I say, okay, there's Zulu time. Here I have a number and Zulu. So these are rules that match any number with a Zulu after it, or any time that's already put together in a Zulu. I'm going to put that together and I'm going to put it underneath a tree structure called Zulu. If I click on this again, please excuse the time lag here. I think it takes a few seconds if I go again. Come on. Okay, I'm going to click again. There we go. Okay, sorry. And here you're going to see the lines, but you're going to see time here, time. You can see that we've already matched them, and there's a Zulu. The Zulu in this case matched it, and then you can right click on this and go back and see which rule it's built. So what the idea here is that this whole display is going to show you regex kind of things and formatted text. How many of us have seen something like this where you've got all kinds of things where you've got headers and numbers, and where does it start? How do you do that? And then an NLP demo where we're looking at co-reference, where you have somebody talked about here, Natalia here, and later on you say Natalia later on in the text. And so it'll show you how we go through text. And here's Natalia, just the first name. Here's Natalia in the beginning, and it says that she's a programmer from Brazil. Later on, she says she goes to, is finishing her bachelor's degree. And if you look at the output here, you can look at the output files. You're going to see that Natalia Ribas and has all this information that she's from Brazil. She's getting her bachelor's. She's got the gender is female, etc. How do you go through all of this text? Let's go back here. How do you go through all of this text and find that? So that's what this is. So this demo, which works really quickly normally, is just to allow people to, I don't know what NLP++ is. Look at these, each one, look at these three, levels, and then be able, once they see that, you can click on try. And what that'll do is it'll bring you to this web page that has a demo of how you can download those analyzers and take a look at it. That's what this is about. And then you can start playing with it. So the idea with this page that looks really great on a phone, I can't show you a phone. Maybe I can. Let me see here. I can show you. Anyways, you can. I'm trying to get this to resize. There we go. So if we do that and restart, you're going to see it works on a phone. So this is really a lot smaller. And if you have a smartphone, the idea is, okay, we're going to blitz this to all the programmers we can in the world. And they're going to come back, what the heck is this? And they'll watch the video, they'll click on one of these, and they'll be able to quickly go through these, read about it. Here's the times. Oh, wow, this is cool. It's building, I can see it's building stuff. They go to a formatted text, and it talks about the problems of prose and all that, and they can go through that. So that's the idea there with that. And now we're going to go actually take a look at those analyzers and go through them a little bit in more detail. Okay. If you guys have any questions, of course, you can let me know. All right. So let's share this. Here we go. So we have the date time one, and we have this text. Basically, this was an analyzer to take a look and say, okay, what if I want an analyzer to do all the times, dates and times? But before I do that, let's take a look at the interface in general. I'm sorry about this, going a little out of order here. So let's take a look at the interface in general. What do you have? You have your text up here. You can just keep putting text in. This is the text that you develop on. You can also have folders of text. If you run it in the folder, you can run an analyzer on all the text within a folder. NLP++ can run through text and build knowledge bases or extract information from all of those and put it into one place as well. You can just do each text and have that in isolated processing, or you can process across a bunch of text and do something, build knowledge or build a database or whatever you want to do. And then down here, you have the analyzer sequence. The first one's always a tokenizer, and we have numerous tokenizers here. CML, don't worry about that one. You have dictionary with no white space. That'll take out the white space automatically. Dictionary meaning we're going to have dictionaries and KBs we want to read in, or you can do dictionary without and leave this white space in. You can do one that separates all the characters that will literally make a tree of every one of these characters. You can also then do the regular tokenizer, which is kind of the default that doesn't read in the dictionaries. So if you have dictionaries, you want to use one of the ones that start with a DICT. And this one's a dictionary tokenizer, 0 spaces. So, and then after that, you have NLP++ files. They can be, in this case, just code that's executed. They can be functions in the declare functions area. And we have a KB functions, which you can get by right-clicking, and you can just download that, KB functions. We have tree functions. We have utility functions. We have lines for all of these things are available. You can also do new passes. You can make those passes can be either rules, code, or functions. You can mix them, but this is just for a new one. Here is the line one. So this one how did I get this? I went to library passes, did lines for dicto Z, which is different because it doesn't have white space. So how are you going to know when you have a new line? Well, in NLP++, we have the let's take a look at this one here. Sorry about that. So here are the lines. You'll notice that here you have no space, space, no space, meaning what they have after it. So this one has no space above it. There's this one had space. So these things are all, what it does is when you do the tokenizing without addiction. In fact, I should just look at that. Sorry, guys. Whoops. Okay. So if you look here, you'll have September, it says no space before it. Here's 04, no space before it. Here's a comma, no space before it. So you'll know it's 04, comma, no space. So when I do the dictionary tokenized no space, it tells me if there was space before it. So when I do that, for me to make the lines, and that is to parse these lines, I have to have this special rules. You don't have to worry about it because we already wrote that. So you just right click. Now, if I had one that still had spaces in, I would use the lines. Okay. Here are numbers. Numbers will take any numbers and it'll do a number type. This is really useful because if you want to get a number, is a number a possible month? Is it a possible day, year? Is it a possible day? So if you can use functions. So here's just saying any number that I find in line, take it and take that first node, this node, pass it to this function. If I right click and go to function, you're going to see I have my function here. It says, okay, if the number is greater or equal to 1 and lesser or equal to 12, it could be a month. That is, it could be a month number. Okay. If it is between 1 and 31, it could be a day. I put 2050, if you know, and again, let's say you're using documents that go back to the 1600s, like Amnon was doing with ships. Well, then you would change this. This is why NLP++ is so good. You can change it, and I can change it in a way that everybody can understand it. If you don't know what I did, you can easily click through here and watch the analyzer working, look at the rules. It's totally human readable. It's a glass box and it's intuitive. Normally, there are sometimes it gets a little bit more squirrely, but you'll have to get in your head the tree, what there are trees and there are knowledge-based stuff. So that's how that one works there. Ordinals, we have here we have a number with either ST, ND, RD, or TH. It's an ordinal number. I put it there and then I put the number together. I say, okay, take the text of this number, make it into a number and save it on the ordinal. So if I look at this tree here, we can see that these ordinal. Now you notice here that I have these brackets, these 3 angle brackets to bracket what has been matched. Now the reason I had to do that is because VS Code does not have a way to do marked up language like HTML and color coded. It does not allow you, when you're writing your own VS Code extensions, to do that. So the way I had to do this was to make this a parser, what we call a lex parser, a lexer, that colorizes lexer. And the only way I could do that is to look at the symbols themselves. So what I did is I tried to choose something that was not, you're not going to find in the text, and that is these 3 brackets here, the greater thans and less thans, and that's why you see that. I was forced to do that. There's no way that right now the VS Code extensions will allow you to do that. Okay, so we can look at times now. You can see the times. You want to look at the rules for the times. You just click on it. Here's the times. You have number, colon, number, colon, number, and then you can match AM or PM. You notice I have an underscore. So these are concepts. They've been matched before. Anything with an underscore is a concept. Anything that doesn't have an underscore, this is a backslash because obviously it's a special character, then that's going to be just treated as a literal text. Once that's done, I can do whatever I want. So I want to put it under here in the post area. I want to do some things. And so I want to put all of this under something called time. And I want to also put information. So I want to take the first node's text. Look at that. It's human readable. I want to take the node 1's text, $ text means that, make it a number, store it into the suggested hour. So what it's doing, it's going to say, with this new node, these are all things that are going to go under this suggested node. And I'm going to put on that the hour, the minute, and the seconds. And if there's AM or PM, I'm going to set the AM. I'm just going to call it AM. It's AM or PM. That's what I called it. And so when I look at the tree, you're going to go down here and see a time. There's a time. You notice then, here's a number, colon, number, AM. Actually, that's a different rule. There's 2 rules in here. You can see here, and I put in what this rule is. So there's some that don't have the seconds in it. So that one came from here. It doesn't matter. And if I want to look at which one it came from, I'll tell you, I'm having a trouble with my mouse here, my mouse trackpad. Okay, so if I want to see which one this rule fired, it has that information in it. In fact, when you look at the tree, let me talk a little bit about the tree. Underscore something is a concept. Anything that doesn't have the underscore is a literal. So, and I've color coded it to make it really obvious. When the rule fires for this tree is for, it's called ANA 0008 because it's the 8th pass. This tree is for this pass. So it shows you the current state of the parse tree, which is really amazing. And here you can see I've taken this 10 and it's now hour, this minute and it's right here, and that the AM is in this fact AM. And if I want to know which rule it fired, I can tell here because this tells me the offsets in the task. This tells me the display offsets, because if you have an emoji, the actual bytes versus the actual what we call display text. So this is the byte offset. This is the display offset. In this case, they're the same. And then the other one is the pass number and the line of where that rule was fired, which comes from the NLP engine. So if I right click here and I go to say display rule fired, it will come over here and open up the rule. So you notice it came even down here and showed me that. This is really great for debugging. Remember, human brains are terrible at language processing. They're terrible at math. They're terrible at all these trees to remember things. So this is why VisualText, which I developed originally on Windows, a Windows application like Visual Studio, that old Visual Studio, I made a Visual Studio-like interface for NLP++ to make these visualizations easy so that you can really go back and forth and visualize everything. That's why it's important. Let's go to, just keep going here. Zulu, we showed in that, and you notice here, there's a couple things. You notice one's in blue and one's in green. What that means is if it's in blue, it means that it actually changed. There was some change in the tree. The green means it used it in the rule to match, but it didn't change the tree. It only changed the Z for the Zulu. So let's take a look at that. So okay. Yeah, you notice this one has a group in it. So what happens here is if you have a time already, and then you have a Zulu, you don't want to put these things together and call it a Zulu. You only want to get this Z as a Zulu. So what you can do in this post area is say, okay, I'll get my Zulu. It's equal to 0. You can set it to 1 or whatever. And it's just a marker. And then you can group the second one from node 2 to node 2. You can call it a Zulu. And what happens, actually, this could be an X nil, meaning it's not even important what you put. You can put anything here, actually, because it's not going to be used. Here it's being used because in the post area, we have a single. So what, I know this is too much for you guys, let me slow down. You have nodes here. Those nodes suggest a possible, these nodes suggest a node, a parent node, which I'm going to put underneath. So in this case, if I have a number in Zulu, I want them to go together and be put underneath Zulu. Now, if I have a post area, sometimes I want to do that, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to do maybe just manipulate this part. But in this case, I want to do this reduction, meaning these two things reduced underneath the suggested node Zulu. I have to put this function called single, it makes this reduced. Whereas in this case, I don't want to do that. I don't want to put time and Z under Zulu. X nil is just kind of our placeholder for, we're not going to use it. You can put it, you can put it there if you anything you want there. And so what I want to do is I just want to make the Zulu only with node 2. In fact, though, let's reformat this rule. You notice I just do a reformat. The reason it reformats nice is because it numbers them. These are comments. And that allows me to look. So when you have a rule system that's bigger, like time, and you got all these, you want to know which one you're dealing with. I want it node 4. Is it 4? Is it 5? Sometimes you have so many. So that's why we have that. So we go back to Zulu. So what I'm saying is here, instead of doing the single, meaning put it all under here, don't do that. Just do this group function which says group nodes, put it underneath, then underscore Zulu, and then that's how we get the Zulu here. So when you look at this, let's go to a Zulu. This is just a text file, folks. You can search on it. There you go. Zulu, you can see this is a number and a Z. So yeah, we use this one. Use the first rule. Here's a let's see. Oh, here's a rule that it didn't. Remember the rule with time followed by just a letter Z? This Zulu is created by doing that, having that group function. So if I right click on this, go to display rule, this is what creates this. Okay, so that's kind of an important concept. All right, I'm not sure we need to go through. I'm just going to be using all of these things to just go through. You can see the times are being put together. And again, the idea here is, you notice that we're putting things together that are, if you look at the time phrases, now we're starting to put together concepts we already had together. Here's one time with a plus or a minus and another time. You notice again, okay, we're not doing anything with it. We're just going to add this time to the list. So if you have these things, this will just keep adding. It's not important you know what this is. Not enough time to explain that one. But here are dates. If you look at the dates, now we have just regular dates, but you'll see an ordinal day of this, You can see here what I put in the comment, what it's trying to match. Here are just numbers. Notice here, let's see. Notice here in this one, we have a couple of a pre area. So we're matching a number, and we're matching an alpha. So this is node 1, 2, and 3. So we have a precondition that this node, this number should have a day on it. Okay, what does that mean? That means in the tree, we should find day. And where did the day come from? It comes from our number, our function. Remember this function that said when you make a node variable day, if that number is between 1 and 31. So way up here in numbers, we've already classified it. So way down here, we can come in here and say, okay, we can do, it's wrong one, day. I think it's here. I can't remember which, daytime. Yeah, dates. Oh, maybe dates. There we go. Sorry, guys. So it's in dates. We have it. Look, it's the precondition. Is node 1 a day? Is node 2 a month? Is node 1 a year? Wait a minute. No, the second one is an alphanumeric. So yeah, we have that as well. And this is where the dictionaries come in. So when you do the dictionary tokenization, you say dictoke. It's going to read in dictionaries. Let's do a look at a dictionary here. So here's a dictionary. That's what we call a DICT file. These can be built by anybody with whatever word editor. You notice here, I just have all the English months. Now, if you don't want to do that, we have a lot of library functions, dictionaries and knowledge bases already. So here's one. We've got all of these things. All these languages have some things. Well, let's look at Hindi. We're in and choose which one we want to do. We only have one for Hindi right now. Hindi names. So HI Hindi names. There you go. So these are English alphabet names with their Hindi names there. Now, I don't know if I put the actual Hindi names later on, but if I wanted to make Hindi names to match and say these are possible names in Hindi, I could take this dictionary, use an NLP++ dictionary, rearrange it so that this dictionary will look these things up. These are for things that we've done that was in English that we're talking about names from India. So that's why these things are there. But there are lots of those things, and we hope to build them. And one of the things I want to do with the your coding club is start talking with you about let's build some more of these knowledge bases in dictionaries for Indian languages. Let's go to English. There's quite a lot. And so you have here adjectives. Now you can do things, countries, directions, north, south, east, and west, first names, the full English dictionary, which is almost 200,000, function words in English, interjections, languages. So if you are talking about, we're talking about languages, English, Japanese, maybe you're building a knowledge base or a database of people, or they're talking in text and you're trying to parse the text. Is this person from Brazil? Speak Portuguese, whatever. You have that. You have a KB, and you have also, let's take a look at these, a KBB file. Just take a look at those, and that brings them down here. So we have languages. So here's a dictionary of languages. This actually comes from a place on the internet where I wrote an NLP++ parser. I'll show you where those are to build this dictionary of languages. You can see that it's a language. You've got its ISO 2 and ISO 3 abbreviations. Now this really comes in handy. Now this is really great, but you're not looking those up here. You're only looking at the actual words for those. Now, if you want to have the languages in a knowledge base where you can look it up. So let's say you're parsing something and you want to see these languages, these ISO, I think we have a dictionary for that. Let me see, miscellaneous libraries. Yeah, there we go. So we have ISO countries. Let's take a look at that. So if you wanted to just match these in a date or something, you notice we have them. And notice that in the dictionary, you have all the names for this. It's quite amazing. So you can use this dictionary. Now, if I have any of these in the text, it's going to use that in the text. If I were to do this right here, and let's call it just a test. All right. And I come here and let's say I'm going to put BOL in it. And that's what I'm going to have in it. BOL. I'm going to run it. And it loaded, what did it do? It loaded all of these dictionaries, which quite a bit, in memory. And then it started parsing it. And the very first thing it does is just look it up. So if I look up in the lookup tree, you have BOL, and you notice already in it is the ISO 3. No, it says it is ISO. What level? It's ISO 3. It has the name. It's Bolivia, a state. It's a pluralization state of, and it has the two name abbreviation, which is BO. So this we know is, and it should be a country too. I mean, that's not good. This should all have country with it. I need to put, let me see. Here, I'm just showing you this isn't good. I'm going to go in and probably have to fix this and put another version of the text out. So this should have country equals 1. Why? Well, let's go ahead. I think it saves it, but let's save it. Now let's do this. I'm just showing you how easy it is to mess around with NLP++. Now let's take a look at the final tree, and you're going to see country 1. So you may have something that just wants to match a country. So that's missing. This is erroneous. So I would go in. I have an NLP++ parser that I built for countries, and I'll go in that and I will change them. Okay, so let's go down this thread a little bit more, and I'm going to show you the analyzer for countries. So I'm going to go up here. So this countries and this countries dictionary came from me writing an NLP++ parser. So I'm going to go to the Hilster analyzer. So if you go to our VisualText GitHub and you download Dave D. Hilster analyzers, you're going to see all kinds of analyzers that I've built on the side to build dictionaries, for instance. Now, some of these are broken. I found out some of these are broken. Let me take a look at this. Remember, we were going to do that. Let's just close all of these here. Okay, so we have the countries and HTML I had. But I don't know. Yeah, I think, yeah, this is wrong. So here's one. This would do the countries, but the ISO. Oh, here it is. Sorry. Got the wrong parser. So you come down here to ISO countries. I don't remember everything. So here are the ISO countries. And if you go to the dictionary, this README file, I normally have in there, there we go. I normally have in there the, you can click on that. I'm not showing you that right now. Don't worry. But if you click on that, it'll show you the web page where I got this. And so I got this information. And so I parse this. So let's run this. The way you can zero out all the already run. So you go, yep, run. So if you, there's no output now. We're going to run this live. So here's the file that I got from the internet, and I'm going to run it on there. It's got a lot of stuff there. It's building. So here we go, and we have the countries.dict. Remember, we had all those. It's got the all that information. Oh, sorry. This was just the countries. Oh, yeah. So what I did is I made just a countries dictionary. I also made one, the ISO, and there it is. There's what we said we should see. I don't know. Oh, this isn't. I don't think this is put in alphabetical order. Let me do that. All right. You can alphabetize, put them in order here. Bolivia, is it there? Okay, well, I'm showing you. Regardless, this gives you the ISO countries. Now, I may have built another one and build it in a different way, but this one gives you an example. Again, I apologize for this because as I was doing them, I wasn't keeping them normally, and I thought, wait a minute, these things could be useful for people. So I think I've got some older versions in here, but again, it doesn't really matter. What matters is here are some parsers that I wrote in NLP++ to do to build knowledge bases, etc. Now, here's an interesting one as well. These are to build. This is showing you the bootstrap. And again, I do apologize. I didn't go through these in a while to see if they're working. But again, it doesn't matter. The idea, I'm trying to show you the idea of how NLP++ works and why so many people, once they know NLP++, start building all kinds of analyzers. So what did I do? I went and I built this all names. And it's a Python script, and I wrote it, and then it goes and gets all the names from this website. So these human names, you can see that I got it from this website. So I did some crawling on the website, using Beautiful Soup, the URL. So I literally go through the website, generate the names, loop through those, and get the information, save them to files, etc. Then I have one for the names as well. Now, again, I can't tell you what these all are doing. All I'm saying is I wrote Python to go scrape some web pages, and then I wrote the NLP++ parser to go and get that information. So I don't think I even use that. This may be all done by Python scripts. So, but again, it doesn't matter because we're going to end up getting these dictionaries out. So these dictionaries came from those web pages. And again, the idea is here you can use Python, you can do it, you can use NLP++, you don't have to, but the idea is it's in a place that shows how I generated the human names. Okay, ISO languages, here are the human languages, and if you run that one, this is a good example. Hopefully this one will be okay and functioning. And there's quite a bit here. So it takes, there you go. And so you have the English languages, you have the languages themselves. You have here the names, ISO languages, all from this file. So I generated dictionaries and knowledge bases that can then be used here. If you right click again, you can use here by going to these places, either the miscellaneous or per language. Okay, let's go back to the analyzers for the NLP fix analyzers. All right. So we were looking at the dates here, and then I got sidetracked on purpose to show how we get these dictionaries. Now we don't need ISO countries. Oh, you can also turn these off. I just turned it off. You click this on and off button, it just renames it so it doesn't see it anymore. Time zones, numbers, languages. I don't think we need the languages. So I think that's what we had there. So again, we're looking at the dates. Click on this. If you want to go back to the run, what this means, what happens in NLP++, when you run something, you get all these log files. And you notice that when I do that, it'll show me here that when it's run, I'll have matching a show. Oh, that was a test. Sorry. Matching file. I'll have a tree for that. All of these things won't exist if I clear this out. Then I can't see it. So you may why I can't see the tree. Well, you got to run it. Those get written into a folder, a subfolder underneath that you don't see here because this is a display I show. But in this, there's actually a folder called text.text.tex.underscore log or something like that, and that's where it keeps all in. Now you see that with dates, you have the matching display available and the tree. Okay, so as you see, again, what happens is we start building things up a little bit at a time. And now when you get further down, you're going to see we're starting to use concepts, not literals. The only thing here is matching a comma here. Here you can see again, daytime, comma, or to, or whatever, daytime, dash, comma, dot, to. And then once we get all that, we do a splice. Splice basically just takes all the lines away. So you notice right here, the lines under the root, these were underlines were there. If we come here, it was a root line and then the line under dates. Well, if I want to just splice this out, I want to get this out, we do have a function called splice. Just says take the line, splice it, and it gets rid of its parent. And now you have this. Okay. And then with the KB, I go through and say, okay, I'm going to now add the date. I'm going to take a date range, a date time range, date range, a date time, a date. And here, what I've done is I said, okay, I'll just make functions for these instead of putting all the code in here. Just to make this simple, you can right click and go to the functions. Where's that? Normally it's just traditional, put it under funcs. So here are all my functions. You can see here I've add time range, add date range. And this shows you here that when I have this tree. And if I look at the tree on all of these, you're going to notice that this has now all the information at the parent level. And that's what I care about. I've already done all the processing for all this. I put it at the parent level. And now I'm going to be able to use that to build knowledge bases and all that other stuff. And then I do that in functions. So how does that happen? Well, I hand the node I have the date, time information from node 1, and I have the date time 1 from, okay, what this is the tree. Let's take a look at the tree. So here's the tree. Here we go. So I have date and I have time, and and I'm taking that information and I'm grabbing the information using functions. Instead of me going into these a lot, you have node 1 and node 2. The reason we say 1 node, 2 node is these are nodes in the parse tree. Now, when you're doing NLP++, you got to keep 2 things in mind. There's the KB. The KB is completely different. It's a hierarchical knowledge-based structure. This is a dump of that. And you can either read them in or dump them out in the same way. So this is a hierarchical. You have to have in your mind what this is, what the knowledge base is in your head. And you have to have it in mind what the KB, the tree structure is. So you have, when you're doing that and you're writing functions, you got to know, am I passing a node from the tree node, or am I passing a concept? And this, for instance, here in this add date time con, I have that I'm passing it a concept from the KB. All right, and these are nodes. So you have to keep in. I'm not going to go through each one of these. It doesn't really matter. But you have to say, I'm going to now take this tree and maybe some of the concepts I've already built, and I'm going to now output that. And then once I'm done, I'm going to output that date time in a KBB. And that's what you see here. So what this is doing, it's taking all of these date time range, all of these, calling a function that it puts it all into the KB. And then on this last one, I dump the KB. I say save KB to this file. And there you go. There you go. Comes out this way. All right. So that gives you an idea. This is just the doing this parser on a file that you would normally write regex. So if you look at the way this is being done, you can see how it's building up. I can see how I came across this. I haven't seen this in a while. I can go through, trace this. Any of you can do that. And you can see then the rules that they have and what they're doing and how they're doing it. And so if you come back to this 2 years later and it's not doing, you found a problem, okay? Let's say it's, 10, 04, 03, and then it has like an XT4 after it, I don't know. And it's not handling that. If I run that on this, it's not handling that part. And I can go say, okay, why isn't it handling? What's the final tree? Oh, it gets the time. It's not getting any of this. So you would look how to do this. This is how the upkeep of NLP++ works. Now, I know we've gone an hour already just with what we've talked about, but the other one is formatting, and I'm just going to go over in a very generalized talk about that. The problem here is here is a numbered header. Here is prose, meaning just straight out text. Here is a number, but the number is not a header. And this is what you got. I want anybody who's a programmer watching this to say that they're going to write something in Python and be able to tease all this stuff out. It's impossible. It really is impossible. But you can do it. And if you go through here, you're going to see how I did this. For instance, a prose block. What's prose? Prose is where you find text. It's just regular text going on and on and on. Okay? And you can see here I've gotten some prose text, meaning it's text that has more than one line. And you can see here I've got it as a prose. Here I've got it as a prose. You notice because it's indented, so it's going to be a different paragraph. Regardless, I look at it, and in the end, if you look at the document, I have paragraph 1, sentence 1, sentence 2, and all the sentences enumerates. So you can see that I've actually broken this text down into a hierarchical conceptual structure that mimics what this is here. I'm not saying this is perfect. This is an example how to do it. And resumes is a good example. We had one of the students at your university doing resumes, and we had the same problem. You'd have a resume that's dumped. You can imagine, you've all seen it. Dump your resume from, do a dump of the text from your resume to a text. How do you do that? And this is just formatting. We human beings can do it. So if you look into here, this is what Dave D. Hilster did. Each one of these areas, page numbers, line attributes, headers, line attributes. I have this function called line attributes. In fact, if you go on to if you go to there, you're going to see line attributes. I look at, is the first thing upper? How many lower? Increment a count on how many that are lowercase. Here's punctuation. I use that. I found out, well, I'll just treat that as lowercase. That helps me with prose. Here's something. Is it uppercase? Is the string upper? Count the upper. So when I look at the lines now, oops, wrong. I didn't click on that. Let me run it. Okay, so what that'll be is that I'll get those attributes on the lines. Oh, page, here we go. Sorry about that. Here, the length is 94. There's one first upper. There's only one upper. The rest are words. This is a great no, there's these words. There's 18 words. And so you can see Dave D. Hilster put on what I know as a human being that gives me clues as to this. Is this just prose? Yeah, there's a lot of lower case. So in my algorithms and NLP++ later on, I'll be able to say, oh, this line is part of prose. Oh, this line is a header because it's got a lot of uppercase. So if I find something that has upper and it has more like 2 or 3 or 4, then you know that this is probably a header. So that's kind of how that works. And then the NLP one is going to show you text where you build. Let me just run this here. Text where you're looking at the text, you're building on that text, and you're going to then look at the output here. And the output, you're going to see I have sentences with the information. I have capitalizations, so I have Natalia Ribas. Down here, I have Natalia Ribas. I then start putting information that I find where I find it. I can go through and say, oh, I had a Natalia here in sentence 1. Here's Natalia Ribas. Oh, here I have another Natalia in sentence 2. And I did that because I matched this Natalia by going and making a function in NLP++ that looked at these sentences and said, oh, do I have, or capitalizations, do I have a Natalia with as a first name or a last name? If I do, make that concept Natalia. So you can see that I have made, in this logic in here, I've said, oh, if you find a Natalia, go looking through this and link it. So this concept links to this concept. it does it like human beings. It's all it's saying is I'm reading here, Natalia here, and then later on I'm going to see Natalia. There it is. And that this Natalia is the same as this one because I'm reading the text. This is the power of NLP++. This is a huge power. This is a problem that everybody talks about in natural language processing. If you do the README file here, I think I say that. I see the ability to coordinate entities mentioned throughout a text. That is one of the biggest problems in NLP. So anyways, that gives you, I've got to stop because we've got kind of went over. So I'm going to present something else here, as we say. And let's go back to the slides. And we'll do the slideshow. Oops. There we go. So learning and using NLP++, now that you've seen a demonstration here. Well, of course, you have the language extension for VS Code. You can read all about it in the marketplace for extensions for VS Code by going to the subdomain vscode.visualtext.org. It'll take you there. We have a Python package. If you go to python.visualtext.org, you'll go to the repository. All you need to do is go to the latest releases, and then instead of pip install and then say NLP plus, which is what we hope will happen in the future, but right now we haven't been approved yet because Python's literally a year behind in approving new packages. You load the wheel file, the WHL wheel file, and every time we make an update of the NLP engine, will automatically update the Python and what this does is this loads NLP++ natively into Python, and you can use it, and you can load up the dictionaries and knowledge bases and run it on bunches of text, and it does it very efficiently because we're using Python's using the NLP++ libraries. You can also use the NLP.exe. In fact, the NLP++ VS Code language extension actually is calling the NLP.exe. That's all it's doing, because you can't call embedded code in VS Code. All right, and I don't know what NLP is there. That's probably. So how can you learn it? Well, build an analyzer. Go through. You can, or there's a couple ways. You can do the YouTube tutorials, and they have analyzers that come with it, or you build your own. Do a date and time on your own. Just grab some dates and times and start playing with it. A real good one, when I do classes in NLP++, I have people do addresses. And if you remember, if you right-click in English or Portuguese too, you're much more luck. And one of the things I'm thinking is for working with you guys, we should have for Hindi, Tamil, we should have dictionaries of roads and all those kinds of things, states and all that. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about, having a working memo of understanding with you guys, memorandum of understanding with you guys. Do a sentiment analysis. You don't train anything. We have two people who have done very little, people days work on sentiment analysis and have gotten 90% accuracy. And everybody goes for I go get the sentiment analyzed for English. I get it and it's trained already. And then I show, how people are bullying. Isn't this so good? And then you go to your boss and boss says, can we use this in a real form? No. How can we augment it? We can't. Go do a sentiment analyzer in NLP++ with emojis. You can write dictionaries with emojis. You can write concepts using emojis. So try that. Resumes, that's another one. Resumes is a good way to look at and save all the resumes from PDF and other formats, and you can start seeing how NLP++, you can start writing rules to actually process that. Previous form documents, Wiktionary pages, Wikipedia pages. So those are good ways for you to start learning. We have the Natural Language Understanding Global Initiative. We've got dictionary processing, dictionary projects, because without dictionaries in NLP, you can't really start. We've already started on the English dictionary from Wiktionary. We had an internship project. Amnon is also, we're working on doing that. We're going to take that internally for Amnon and I and his company to be doing that one. We have a Portuguese dictionary, which I'm currently working with Natalia and Eduardo, and he and I, and those two, we're working on a Portuguese dictionary. Very difficult. Portuguese has 67 conjugations for every verb. I worked on intern projects with Nepali and Chinese and found out Chinese doesn't have a dictionary. The dictionary in China is useless for linguistics. Nepali is too. There's a we plan to have dictionary projects in the future where people can go online, just have Chinese there and just mark them with quick keystrokes so we can build by, and this is something we could even talk with your coding group if people are interested in that project. Indian dictionaries, we are working with Dr. Marin Thomas, and we're going to be teaching NLP++. She already has a bunch of dictionaries. We're looking to put those dictionaries in NLP++, and all of a sudden, people will have NLP++ to start building real rule-based NLP in all these different Indian languages. We need Indian language dictionaries for days of the week, months, numbers, function words. Human names, I've got some from Hindi, but those are only human names not written in Hindi. NLP++ is compliant with Unicode. And let's see, NLP++ and the Academia. Ay, caramba, I put Portuguese there. Sorry about that. And academics. Sorry. First master's thesis using NLP++. It was the low resource ICD coding of hospital discharge summaries. We only use a few texts to be able to do this. So we, with very few texts, we of course don't have to train. We just build a generalized analyzer using the brain of Ashton Williamson, and it was doing on rare coding way better than the trained systems. That was the first master's thesis using NLP++. We've done internships for the Nepali dictionary, Chinese dictionary, English dictionary, resume process, sentiment analysis in Portuguese, and for soccer, and English for Indian cricket. We are working on the first course with NLP++ at the RBCE University with Dr. Marin Thomas, and that should be starting to be taught in August of 2025. You guys could be way ahead of the curve on that by having attended this. We have a memorandum of understanding already with the computer science department with Dr. Marin Thomas, and it is guided by the dean of the college. And I know there's different divisions, but the person that the dean is Shobha G, Dr. Shobha G. We're also looking at the coding club. You know, one thing is if you go to wiki.visualtext.org, you'll get to a wiki that I wrote that's on my own server, and it's got the whole description of the language with references. I put that in regular Wikipedia. They threw it out because I was the author of it, and they also said it didn't have any references. Now we have papers that have been published about it, a master's degree which has a paper published about it too. So if you go to that page, I'm looking for help from your coding club. To one of you guys, go to that page, hit edit, copy the whole thing, and put it into Wiktionary, and let it go, because that is a third person, not myself or Amnon. Those students who are interested in projects can join the Nalugi, and by adding their local languages to the knowledge base. And what that will incentivize is doing NLP, because NLP has disappeared from academia. NLP has disappeared from industry. And I'm not talking about statistical methods. Those to me are not natural language processing. Those are statistical methods. Large language models are statistical methods. It doesn't use linguistic information like human beings have. We all have in our head words that we memorized and alphabets that we memorized when we were kids. We all learned to read. And then we learned about things, and we use words to know about those things. So NLP++ is the fifth revolution in linguistics, which is the transfer of linguistic and world knowledge and how to use that to computers. And you can be part of it by becoming part of the Natural Language Understanding Global Initiative. So I thank you very much. I will take a look at that if there's any questions there. I know there are a few people because it's a Friday night. This is recorded. I will edit it so we don't have all that funny stuff going on that we had in the beginning. So thank you so much. Let's see if there's anything here. Can we find recordings of these sessions anywhere? Yes, you can. They'll be on that page. They are live on the, if you go to youtube.visualtext.org, it'll take you to our YouTube channel, and they'll be there. In fact, the first two are already there. This one will be there later on today. It'll take a little longer. And it says, where can I find a link to this? Okay, you got that answered. Think of it like a video game where each level is a world and you finish the current world in a new dimension. That's interesting. Maybe of how to program it. But thank you so much. If there are no more questions, I appreciate you guys coming out on a Friday night, even if you were mandated by the president of your organization to be here. I truly think every programmer should learn this. If I were you, I would, because you're going to get into a programming job somewhere, and you're going to have some text somewhere, and you're going to be able to go to your boss and say, hey, I can do this. And they're going to go, really? And that's going to make a big difference. So performance according to the system. I don't know if you're asking about performance of NLP++, but what happens is the big thing is loading up the big time consuming part in the beginning is loading up dictionaries, big dictionaries and knowledge bases. It loads up real fast now with the new .dict files and the KBB files. It loads up pretty darn fast. But we can compile those, and we can compile both the analyzers and if you use, like I said, if you use Python and you load up the analyzer, it's all in memory, and it will then, once it's in memory, it will be able to process your text one after another without having to reload every time. So it is pretty efficient. And so we've run 1,300 files interpreted, ran about an hour and a half. But you can parallelize it. So if you need to have, let's say we built an analyzer for real estate, and we need to do 40 real estate documents a second, and it takes 1 second for us to do one real estate document, just to make it easy, then you spin off 40 versions of it parallel, and you run them in parallel. Again, what it's doing is it's taking the place of human readers a lot of times. So yeah, it's a little bit more processing than just your like regex or something like that. But again, we can compile the analyzers and the KB. It's not part of the compilation process. It's not part of the current new VS Code NLP++ version. But we plan to get that version out. We're in version 2. Version 3 will have that kind of compiling available. And those things are, if you're interested in NLP and rule-based and the future of NLP, which I think this will be, then become part of this effort, and you can work directly with people who developed a programming language that we think is going to be eventually taught in every university around the world.